welcome to the Bruno Mattei show, and really quick, I think we should probably talk about why this episode isn't Porno Holocaust.
Because we didn't want to do that.
Decided against it.
Well, we went back and forth on this, like, actually, we didn't really go back and forth on it, we were all in agreement.
Pretty much one straight direction.
Like,
No.
I don't think we should do Porno Holocaust. That guy wants his fiddle. No, I really think we shouldn't do Porno Holocaust.
Well, I agree with the both of you.
I'm very
There's
glad
absolutely
against it.
there's absolutely no evidence whatsoever that supports that Bruno Mattei had anything to do with Porno Holocaust, other than an uncredited credit on IMDb, which has only recently been put on there. I've seen Porno Holocaust. It is a pure Joe D'Amato movie. It's like calling The Beyond a Bruno Mattei film.
Yeah, I mean, if he had anything to do with it, it was probably walking on set one day and just saying, "Oh, yeah, the way you're framing his junk, top notch," and then walks off into the sunset.
So, yeah, I looked hard. Media Blasters did put out a DVD of Porno Holocaust. I don't have it. I just have it on a bootleg. This Media Blasters DVD is very rare. And there is an interview with George Eastman on it. I guess if there's any evidence that Bruno Mattei has anything to do with it, maybe it's in this interview, but I could not find the interview. I could not find even a lot of my DVD sources who had this DVD. So, if anyone out there has pure evidence Bruno Mattei had anything to do with it, I'll gladly sit here and talk about Porno Holocaust.
Have to stay true to the show.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Caligula and Messalina.
So, in retrospect, Porno Holocaust probably would have been a better choice.
Well, it's because things happen in that one. Not things you want to watch, but
Yeah,
things.
certainly. Yeah, Caligula and Messalina is a co-directorial effort with Bruno Mattei and Anthony Pass, and we know Bruno had a lot to do with this one. There are copies of this movie that he's credited as Vincent Dawn. Not this one, but also it brings back the horse
fucking scene, man.
which
Horse
you
fucking 2, the prologue.
I'm part of the club now. I got to see it.
that was you didn't see the Nun of Monza where the horse fucking originated from.
which
And
actually,
thank you for warning me the whole licking vagina part.
We were like, look, oh!
Yeah, literally,
us
I was like,
warning
oh!
her was you sitting there going, wait for it, wait for it.
Thank you, Brian. I'll never forget it.
I hope where I can. But I was looking, actually, I guess that footage is actually from a different film called, like, The Beast.
Is it really?
Yeah.
It's not even from
So he's ripped
Nun of
that-
Like, is the
Monza?
horse the beast, or?
Oh, that's fantastic.
I
So
have
he's not
no
only ripping
idea.
off his own film, he's ripping off another film that
Well,
he originated.
well, no, he's just ripped
ripping
off the
off
same movie twice.
It seemed to fit in better with Nun of Monza, though. And this
He
one,
cropped it a little tighter so you couldn't see all the,
Yeah.
modern Italian
Couldn't see all the nuns.
backgrounds.
well, half of this.
I didn't, I didn't see the Nun from Monza, so I don't know how it fit in there, but I thought it fit in okay because they already watched, like, the donkey fucking when the lady was gonna take the bath for the donkey milk. So you knew they were, like, kind of into this watching animals fuck, and so they go out to the steeding place and they're just like, yes, and then the horses just kind of go at it, and
Well, see, that's the thing,
Caligula
is
looks
that, they already
for
did the donkeys fucking, so the horse thing was sort of superfluous at that point.
That-
Right,
it
that's
was
why
very-
I
By the
was
way,
Some
there
more
was
of the
donkey
same.
sex
Yeah.
in this one. We
Yeah.
kind of glossed over that. Donkey sex and horse sex. It's a twofer.
She never gives enough milk unless she's excited by her lover. Bring in Felonious.
And it was very clearly not from, like, I didn't know that about Nun of Monza, but that movie was fucking grainy enough to where it looked it looked like it was part of that movie. This one, it's very clear that the horse
Yes.
that the horses were from something different. I mean, I thought it was just from Nun of Monza, but
They just took,
regardless, it is from something different.
took a break from the plot to wander outside and watch horses do it, and then walk
Yeah.
back inside.
Well, half of this
Well,
fucking movie.
and then they claimed that one of those horses was Incitatus.
yeah, that's right.
Gotta work it in
Well,
somehow.
Yeah.
My favorite thing is that
Forgot that Caligula's white steed was Black Beauty.
my favorite aspect was like you could tell
Black
very
Incitatus,
much
white
so.
Incitatus.
You could tell very much so like what they actually shot and what they stole because everything was like epic, and then it would be like brick barrier
yeah.
and like little fence, and it was
In
funny.
the gladiator sequence.
Yeah.
Like the first
Yeah.
half of the movie
Bottom
is
of
almost
somebody's pool.
entirely borrowed footage.
Yeah.
I mean, it's epic in scale. It's like the Ten Commandments, and then it cuts to like the corner of somebody's patio.
Well, my favorite is when they showed like the boats coming in, and there's just two guys waving from like behind the railing.
Yeah.
Our return will disturb the peace and tranquility of Caligula.
That's the understatement of the year 50.
Considering that most of it, did a good third of this fucking movie is stock footage, I thought it did a little better with it than like Hell of the Living Dead was, only because, I mean, it was still clear whenever it was stock footage, but the film stock and the look to it wasn't that much different than the Bruno Mattei stuff, than the Caligula and Messalina stuff. It wasn't like Hell of the Living Dead where, you know, all the African footage is a billion times grainier than everything else in it.
And this, pretty much
In
the
this one, it didn't look, the stock of it didn't look that much different. I mean, you knew it was stock footage because it looked expensive, because what was going on looked very big budgeted. It kind of matched, the film grain kind of matched a little better in this one.
Well,
True.
Well, it seemed like the one way that you could tell the difference was the quality of costuming.
Yeah,
'Cause
that
we were
too.
having a real
yeah.
problem with those shoes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and then they had stuff that looked like sneakers. There were golden wedges like you would get at Payless that strap you up, and they wore like bikini string underwear all the time that
Yeah.
they're like slipping off of each other.
Well,
and
the-
That's what I'm wearing right
picture
now.
that
I don't see how
Aaliyah-
that's weird.
The picture that Aaliyah drew for you actually draws those shoes like impeccable detail. Literally every single woman in this
Yeah.
movie is wearing these
Yeah.
shoes.
It's basically like a giant soap opera. It's kind of like if they condensed several parts of I, Claudius into about 90 minutes and threw bestiality in it. Because
and midget porn.
in the eunuch, remember the eunuch?
Oh,
She
yeah.
fucks the eunuch.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
It's like History
that part
Girl
was
part
kind of
one
funny.
where it was like she's looking, come here.
They
Yeah.
cut back to that crotch like 5 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
like,
that intense gaze that he had, just like showing the robe rising and him just.
If you trim a
I
branch,
don't
it
think he
does
had
grow back
eyelids.
stronger.
He just never blinked.
yeah. They definitely put a lot into it story-wise. I mean, I'll give it that. It's not that interesting of a movie, but a lot of the Caligula ripoffs I've seen are usually about just basically one thing, you know. Caligula reincarnated as Nero is about Nero. Caligula 2, Messalina doesn't even have Caligula in it. It's about Messalina and Claudius. This one kind of combines the whole Messalina thing and ripping off Caligula and
And they
stuff
got
like
someone that looked like
So
Malcolm
real-
McDowell.
I thought he looked more like fucking what's his name? Bruce Hornsby.
Yeah, he looked kind of old.
Yeah, he
too
looked
old
like
to
the
be
lead
Caligula.
singer from Dire Straits.
I almost forgot you were the one who suffocated the divine Tiberius with the cushion. Killing your old uncle in such a barbarous fashion was a reprehensible thing to do. Arius,
At your service, Caesar.
I want you to slit this murderer's throat. And remember, when you do it, it must be done slowly. I want him to suffer.
meant like because they used the coin in the background
the
and
exact
the
same
profile.
coin.
He had that kind of nose and then the curls to his hair and just kind of.
Well, that was clearly not him on that coin. But again, it was clearly Malcolm McDowell. I mean, those high cheekbones and the thin, slender face. And no mistaking that face.
Yeah. The movie is really two movies in one because the first half of it's about Caligula. And Caligula, by the time the movie starts, Caligula's already been reigning for a little bit. So the first scene that we get in the movie is two horsemen basically, like previously on Caligula, telling us everything that we've missed. Like, so did you hear he killed his cousin Gemellus?
Only the other day, he exclaimed in the circus, I only wish the people had one head.
And he made the unfortunate Lentulus maintain his promise to exchange his life for the health of his emperor.
And don't forget he had his cousin Gemellus tortured to death because his breath smelled of medicine.
Like describing all of this shit. There are some things about the movie that it kind of gets right, little details. I had to think, because I studied a lot of this in high school, and I haven't really since, but a lot of things, like with Agrippina in there, and Nero being her son, and the whole thing with Messalina wanting to rise to power through Claudius, and then her having an affair, and Claudius having her executed. There's a lot of little stuff like that that they got right from their sources.
The problem I had about their recap was they talked like a cross between Speed Racer and the Gilmore Girls. I was expecting them to go, Caligula killed Germanus, haha! And then just like kind of go on, because they were
Well, they wanted to get that scene out of the way as soon as they could.
I know, it was just kind of...
Are those two characters even in the rest of the movie?
No. Guys, talking about the plot.
I think Caligula had them killed before the credits rolled.
Oh, the credits! Oh my god, the credits were amazing. Oh, the credits in this, they make like the fake New York in 2019 after the fall of New York. They make the fake New York, they make that look like actual fucking New York City. Oh my god, the fucking fake Rome in this doesn't even look like fucking milk cartons or shoe boxes. It looks like little tiny matchbooks that they have
They
on
made
there.
the entire thing out of Sculpey and we're just like taking this
Holy
meandering
crap.
path through
Oh
the
my
city.
God.
It probably would have looked kind of convincing from like a very long distance shot. But like they're getting close enough to like you're like going through the streets, and it's so fucking awful. Like somebody stamped this out earlier in Play-Doh and just like set it up.
Epically awful.
Feel like they went to a museum that had this already set up and just like filmed it real quick a minute.
Yeah, they snuck into like the field museum.
Well,
Get it.
it's funny that they mentioned the Germanus thing because...
Gemellus,
sorry. Germanus. Wasn't he like one of the Jackson 5? Jermaine!
Oh, that was LaToya.
Anywho, how Germellus was killed in the movie Caligula was the whole like poison thing, and he's like, it's medicine style, and then they repeat that with
with a different character.
Yeah, with a different character, and it was just kind of like, okay, well, let's just kind of stick towards Caligula.
Yeah.
I meant no offense. Have mercy on me.
I want Macronius punished for offending his emperor and his emperor's sisters. An unpardonable crime. Have him executed.
No.
And then it gets, the second half of it is all about Messalina and Claudius, and not a whole lot is really written about Messalina before she hooked up with Claudius. So this movie decides to explain it, that she's a gladiator.
She wasn't a gladiator. She was like wandered to the gladiator field one day. I was like, let me in, I want to play.
And she just
she was the girl from Little Giants.
It was her bikini top
she just
and her
wandered
big
in
golden
from
shoes.
like that Troll 3 A-Tor movie.
Yeah, that's exactly. Is it even the same fucking actress?
Could have been same wardrobe.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like fucking Quest for the Mighty Sword. So then the rest of it is her. She's like seducing Caligula. Caligula gets killed in this halfway through. Yeah, he gets killed halfway
He gets killed
through.
like Caesar.
So he gets like Julius Caesar. All the Roman guards
Going
kill
back
him in
for
his
just
room.
a second, I didn't understand, I didn't understand a lot of this movie because it was kind of like plot, fuck, you know, enough plot shows get
A lot of
to digging.
sex in it.
Yeah.
But the thing I didn't get was when Messalina was gladiatoring or whatever, he has he wants her to chop his dick off, and she lifts up his underwear, sticks the sword down, you see, ah! And then it cuts to Messalina and Caligula, and he's like, you disobeyed me. And I'm like, what happened?
It did seem like a lot of like the porny stuff happened like on screen and like right up close, but a lot of like the violence like that we were talking about happened just kind of like off screen and kind of like they
I
just
think
talked
that we
about
saw
it
a cut
happening.
version of it. I
Okay.
think the version we saw was edited.
There's like a German release version. It's only
That
like
didn't make any
10
sense.
minutes longer.
Yeah.
You have no choice, Messalina. Obey him or you will be killed as well as me.
You were the one who noticed that. I wasn't paying that much attention.
Or he said emasculate him or something, and I was
Yeah.
like, did he mean with her incessant nagging instead?
Well,
Maybe she just pulled back his bikini
Snap!
and just like tapped him.
Yeah, see, I
Take
saw
that
that like
and just walked off.
I saw it as she actually did cut off his wang or whatever. But he was mad at her for not doing it in the first place because she kind of like sat
she
there and argued with
hesitated.
him first.
oh yeah, that could be it. I don't want to. I don't want to needlessly mock this script.
God no.
But yeah, so then when Messalina comes into it, it's the whole Claudius thing. Most of the rest of the movie is just her fucking everything that moves. Like the guy who saves her life or
Oh
something.
my god, that was
was
great.
Then
like
she
captain of the guard guy that shows up.
captain of the guards, and
First,
then
they
she
stick a stick up her vag, and then he saves her, and she's all like watching, and then she thanks him by fucking him after she just got like raped by a stick.
she tosses him in the Rancor pit.
You must forget this encounter forever. Do you hear?
Never in a million years.
You're sounding like a bore.
She does it
It was
afterwards.
a setup though, so chances are it was like a
Well,
finely
no, because
polished
he was
wooden
gonna
stick.
tell, and so she was like,
Yeah, that's what she
this
offered.
never happened," and he's like, "I'll never forget it," and then she's all like, "Bam!" and then he falls and gets killed by a lion.
He's actually standing on some
I wonder how many trapdoors she
evil
has around that
genius
city.
like cartoonish trap door that exactly like a 1x1 square that he's on, just clank and just falls straight through like it's Scooby-Doo.
And see, that's why I thought the whole thing was a setup, because otherwise, she would have had to have like hundreds and hundreds of
Yeah.
trapdoors around the city. For
Well,
just in
even
case.
wasn't it like a statue head that tilted back?
No, it was just one of the books in her library.
Next
Gotta
statue,
have a trap door.
next statue head over, drops you down to the back cave. It could have went either way.
This bootleg
Like in a
that I
field
have
of
for
marshmallows.
I gotta mention this. The bootleg that I have for this movie, I can't remember where I got it, but when we put in the DVD, it said 2.5 hours long. Yeah, you asked me.
Bruno's Avatar.
You go. Well, you said you've seen this. Is it 2.5 hours? I was like, well, I didn't finish it. I remember when I tried watching it once a couple of years ago. I got up until Caligula, right after he had gotten killed.
Long live Claudius.
And then Caligula fucking gets killed, and it's sort of is this movie over?
like Nicholas
Hey,
Cage in that one.
Bruno wants to get to that B Caligula movie quick.
Yeah, well, and that was the thing that kind of caught me is because I forget why, but we ended up pausing it for a minute right about that point.
Yeah.
And that scene was
Jimmy John's.
maybe 30, 40 minutes in.
Yeah,
it was
it is.
barely even into the movie when that happened. And yet I was thinking by the time that happened, This is gonna wrap up pretty quick, I guess.
Awesome.
It's 50 minutes long. Sweet.
Yeah, perfect. It was like 100 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, it turned out.
Honestly, it felt like it was 2.5
It did.
hours.
At the end, you end up being that behind the scenes from the
Yeah.
tour of
That was
Apollo.
cool, yeah.
I had more fun watching that. Than
That
the
thing's
actual
great. I
video.
have that on both of my. That was included on the first. It's the making of Gore Vidal's Caligula, that hour-long documentary, and
To see what Tinto Brass looked like.
it's.
He's a swarthy motherfucker.
Oh, when you see Tito Brass in interviews and such, he's always got a big fuck off cigar in his mouth. He's fucking great. That thing is great. If you haven't seen like the making of Caligula, I've seen it several times. It's on all of the DVD editions to Caligula. It's on that single disc that was released like 10 years ago, and it's on the 3-disc. You see Guccione sitting there with those fucking gold chains,
Shirt buttoned like
big
only up
fucking
about
hairy
here.
chest.
Ew, oh
I'm
wait.
gonna follow Caligula where he lived and where he died.
Just like a huge long table. It had to
That
actually
long
belong to
fucking
him.
table. I'm sure he probably got that table from the actual Last Supper. That seems like something Guccione would own. Yeah, I mean, I wish I could remember where I got that bootleg from, because I would actually kind of recommend getting it just so you can get that attached on it. Well, if you've got the Caligula DVD, it's on there. But just go and
easier.
get that.
But I mean, if you
Bonus
want the
features
full
ever.
story, the real story, you want to pick up Caligula and Messalina.
Yeah, it is.
The untold
It
story.
does,
Yeah,
30 minutes into Caligula and Messalina, it does
I
pick
think even
up
like
where
the
Caligula-
tagline for this one was like, the story that history was too scared to tell, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Except for the fact I've seen these stories told several times.
Correctly.
But not on the same print.
Well, that's true. That's not in the same movie. That is true. The one that's called Caligula 2, Messalina. That one's actually pretty funny because it's like a zany comedy. It's like the closest.
Oh, I can see how you can inject a lot of humor into this.
Dude, I need to show.
kinda
I need to
could.
show you this movie. It's not a Bruno Mattei movie, but I need to. What they did was they filmed it on the leftover sets of Caligula, so it's like the closest thing there is to being an actual sequel. And
Filmed it on the
it's
sets
about
of, Funny Thing
Messalina.
Happened on the way to the forest.
It's almost kind of a spin-off because it's about Agrippina and Messalina, who were the two lesbians in Caligula, and it's the same actresses in Caligula too.
Let us watch it.
It's like so they're and so it's on the leftover sets of Caligula, so the movie looks 10 times more expensive than it is. Anyway, it's like a screwball comedy, like really zany. Like it ends in this grotesque, bloody, gory ass fight where Claudius has Messalina and her lover killed.
Playing like Yankee sax in the background.
Well, they're yeah. It goes into like fast motion and shit. Like people get like their hands cut off and it's geysers of blood shooting out. And the two gladiators are trying to fight each other, but there's too much blood on the floor, so they're fucking slipping and shit. I think one guy's playing a xylophone on someone's rib cage.
You must watch this tonight.
I have it. I've got it at home.
Let's do it.
Throw in some of those Looney Tunes.
Yeah, it was.
car wash sound effects like whoop bong, whoop bong.
And that's kind of the problem with Caligula and Messalina because it more or less plays it straight.
Yeah, I think that's what made it so
It
boring.
was very serious with itself.
Yeah.
It wasn't messing around.
Yeah, and with all the stuff that wasn't in the stock footage, I mean, it looked very cheap. Mainly due
Except
to
for that bed.
well, that was like the only
horses.
thing. I mean, it was like they only shot it in like 1 or 2 sets
Yeah.
because there was that room with all those white stallions. That's like one of the only rooms that's even in the
Yeah,
movie.
Big penis plaque that was
three
above her head.
giant.
yeah.
Well, yeah, those 3 giant like white marble stallions.
Yeah.
Over like a mattress on the floor.
Because you want the Empire for your son.
A child who still sucks from a slave's nipples. Leave little Nero out of it. You see conspirators hiding in every corner of the palace and have anybody you suspect put to death on some feeble excuse.
Yeah.
Well, you were
It kind
saying,
of took away from it.
like with the 2 nun movies and the 2 SS movies, there's usually a bad one and a good one, and they're filmed concurrently.
Yeah.
So this is actually making me look forward more to Caligula Reincarnated as Nero.
Caligula Reincarnated
It
as
seems
Nero,
like
I've seen
By
it
the
all the way
pattern,
through.
that one should be the good one.
It's yeah, actually, it is a lot better. As far as it looking like more expensive or anything like that, for the bootleg that I used to have for Caligula Reincarnated as Nero was still very grainy and whatnot, but it's a lot more entertaining. Because the guy playing Nero in it is pretty fun.
Does it do a little more like different sets, or is it?
Yeah, from what I remember.
Because that was one thing.
A lot more. It's just more entertaining than this one.
Okay, because that was just one thing I kind of noticed with this one, was that it honestly felt like it could have been adapted to like a stage production.
That's what it looked like.
Like we were talking, because like there would be a scene in like Caligula's bed chamber with like the stallions all weird up. There'd be like a scene in there, then it'd cut to like 2 minutes of stock footage of people running around, and then it'd cut to like the Colosseum set, and then stock footage, and then back to the bedroom, and then stock footage, and then the bathhouse, stock footage, bedroom, stock footage.
So like to give the stagehands time to set up the next set.
Yeah, it was like when they like play like the separate little like scene, or like the incidental like traveling music, and like they move everything around, get it into place. And, well, especially even just like when people were standing next to windows, behind it was just a solid blue cloth. It was like they're standing in front of like a chroma key or something.
Do I have to remind you as well that if it were not for my wise and just form of ruling, you would not be here at all?
In that case, I prefer to retire and go to voluntary exile.
I don't follow you.
I figured
like dinosaurs fighting.
Well, yeah, I figured there should have been something behind them, and maybe they just forgot. I mean, I wasn't sure because it was just stark, electric blue skies.
That
best weather they've ever had.
That and then the in the gladiator pit where it was like epic with the regular people fighting, and then you get to Messalina, and it's clearly like the bottom of somebody's pool.
I think that if I was to take a guess as to why it looks really, really blue like that, and this is just a guess, it reminded me a lot of what they did with how the island of Capri, Tiberius's grotto looked like in Caligula, in Bob Guccione's Caligula, because when they're outside and like the dudes on stilts and everything, there's all those floors. That's supposed to be like kind of outdoors, and all that red sky in the background is supposed to be like the sky.
Yeah, because like when I was watching like actual Caligula, I figured that was like an underground sort of situation.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but
it's like a cave.
That's what I thought. But it's supposed to be like up in the mountains or some shit. I mean, that's what it says. That's what they say in the documentary. That's what they say in the novel. That's what they say. Like that's what they say in the documentary. That's what they say in the novelization, in the script, and everything. Is that's supposed to be like an outdoor grotto.
Okay, so
that part of it with the 3 levels, like the stuff with like the swimming pool and like I think that's supposed to be inside. But anyway, so how really red that kind of background looking at. If I was to take a guess, maybe they're trying to rip off something like that.
Make it sort of like a stylistic sky.
Make it red.
Yeah,
make it blue.
But I mean, I doubt it. That was just an idea I had.
Well, like in the Pirates of Penzance, they used like an actual painting in the back line, kind of like if you were in a stage play.
Yeah.
And so, like, if they did something like that, that would be neat. But like just that blue.
But yeah, I mean, there was
so odd. There wasn't even a gradient. It was literally electric blue. Like there should have been
like a fluffy cloud.
Yeah.
But it did catch the eye.
That would be great. You talking about like Super Mario Brothers? The clouds have eyes.
It's like just a bunch of like cotton balls like pasted to it, like you're in kindergarten. Somebody like wheeling it along. So it's like.
Oh my god, that would be brilliant. Oh shit. Oh god, just that one thing right there would have made me really like this movie. I thought the movie was relative. I mean, as cheap as everything looked in it, I thought it was kind of well shot. Like, I thought they got in some pretty decent camera angles and shit in there. But it looked, in the sense that I guess it looked like more of the shots in the movie were maybe planned a little better than in, say, something like None of Monza.
It seems like that scene where I think was it Messalina? It was either Messalina or Agrippina. I forget which.
Agrippina was the blonde.
Well, I can't remember.
Oh, okay. All right.
Like when she's bedding down that guy with the huge head, looks like a
the dude from
Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah, the guy from SS Girls. Salon Kitty.
He's like always like the Neanderthal guy.
He was the Beast in Horrifying Experiments of the SS Last Days. Like Salvatore or something.
Like that scene, like when he was bedding her down. Yeah. Like it was actually fairly well shot because like they're in like the forefront, and then behind them are like some columns and like doorways and stuff and windows, and they're just like people kind of like looking in through like the windows. It was very kind of artsy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole movie
for
felt
what it
pretty
was.
artsy to me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It
Not,
did.
not in a bad way, which is how I usually read.
You're right. Yeah. I mean, it was still definitely an exploitation film. It's not a great one.
Roses are grown for only one reason. They have to be plucked. Oh, when does the pruning begin?
Going back to the Caligula part, I forgot to mention this, that I thought it was kind of odd that they changed since they were trying to follow it. So, like the movie was, they did the wedding thing, but it wasn't at the wedding, and he actually doesn't even like
was on
use
their
the
honeymoon.
cream or fat or whatever. He just like starts going at the guy too. Like,
No, he just starts fucking him.
I know, that's what I said. He starts going at him without like
Fucking around,
pre-lubing.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the other scene that was like really awkward for me was the midget part, where it's like she's fucking what's her name, or not her, but what's his name? I don't remember who it was. But then the midget gets off the horse and he's like, comes up behind, sticks it in her ass, and then like it's like she's like. It was kind of like if you got two guys at a club that are trying to dance on you, and one's going really fast and the other one's going to the side. It's kind of
And it
like
ends up
you
in
get
double
Night at the Roxbury,
penetration.
and so it was kind of like
That's a
it
verb
reminded me of
now.
Night at
It's not even like ED, it's apostrophe D.
it reminded me of Night at the Roxbury because I'm just like that can't work because he's all going at it
That
and
seems
she's
like
on
the kind
top
of thing
of him fucking
you need
slow.
to have practice at doing.
You give me all the strength I had in my youth. This is the greatest gift you could give your emperor.
I know, but she seemed to be enjoying it.
But to that guy's credit,
He was giving it to her.
he was throwing down.
Throwing some big.
And plus, like, he was built like
He
hell.
was.
Like he could easily have picked me up and just thrown me. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy. I mean, his arms were not like. His arm was probably about as wide as he was. I mean, this dude was just muscle.
He would have kicked Willow's ass.
Most likely.
I don't know.
I guarantee he wouldn't have
He
been
would
able
have
to
had
take
Val Kilmer
on
on his side.
True.
fucking Ralphus from Bloodsucking Freaks.
Yeah, kick that.
It was
guy.
funny the voice they dubbed over him. He sounded like one of the Lollipop Guild, but slightly lower. He was just like
Smoking cigars for about 20 years.
Do you think I'm beautiful, Fortune?
More beautiful than Helen of Troy, a whore worthy of the gods.
You wicked little thing.
It was just funny because he jumps off the horse, like first he's looking down from the horse,
Yeah.
and then he jumps off. He's like, and does this little waddle.
You kind
because
of
he's so
worked your
buff.
way into a situation.
Yeah,
like
it
that.
does. And I was
Can't
like,
just
I
dive
know
in
there's
there
gonna be
first.
midget porn. I know there's gonna be male. Okay, there it is.
Well, there is in Caligula too, in Guccione's Caligula, and even Caligula: The Untold Story, which is the Joe D'Amato one. They all have midget porn in it.
I know. I just gave the movie more credit than I should have. I guess.
That was your mistake.
It is not I who have it.
I do not like riddles. Be clear.
I was speaking of this.
It looks the same as before. Why say you do not have it?
It's not like that of the other. His is surely double the size.
No, I don't believe it.
It's true, absolutely true.
They had Guccione's Caligula though.
There's so much porn
One up
going on
to this
now.
one in the vomiting department. No one got puked on in this movie.
That was nice for me. I don't really like it when they throw up in movies like this.
In like this.
Yes. I don't like
Especially when it's
What
like
genre
this.
are
Oh
you
my
referring
god.
to?
If
Well,
it's
just,
something
when they're like,
thirsty, it's
oh,
okay.
I'm gonna throw up, and then I can like have time to look away, but sometimes it's like, ha! Takes me completely by surprise.
Sorry.
Well, I should probably wrap this up. We won't spend this whole one talking about Caligula and have nothing else to talk about. Caligula reincarnated as Nero.
Next time we'll just talk about
Oh, so
Nero.
it's supposed to be Caligula is like reborn in
No,
Nero?
no, it's just an alternate
He was a
title.
god. Joe.
No, it's about Caligula reincarnated as Nero. It's about Nero, but it's still ripping off stuff from Caligula. Oh, Nero was crazy. But anyway, so yeah, we'll see you next time on Caligula reincarnated as Nero.